Want a cookie? Oh, I know you just ate, so you're craving something a little sweet. Besides, one cookie isn't gonna kill you. How about half? Just a bite? Bite it. Bite it. Bite it.
Food noise isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. Your affordable GLP-1 source that puts you on a path to successful weight loss by quieting food noise.
Bite it.
Shh. Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
Hi, I'm Chandler Garcia. As a PICU nurse and global health advocate, I've cared for women and children all over the world, from Costa Rica to Egypt to Kenya and beyond. And no matter where I go or how tough the conditions get, I always wear my figs. These scrubs are lightweight, breathable, and super soft, perfect for long shifts in any environment. They've got pockets in all the right places, the fit is flexible, and they're durable through every admission, surgery, and post-op. But it's not just about the scrubs. Another big part of what I love about figs is when they say they're committed to supporting healthcare workers all over the world, they mean it. I recently joined them on an impact trip to India where I worked in triage, caring for babies in a mobile clinic. My figs aren't just what I wear. They're part of the impact I want to make. Wherever my work takes me, Figs helps me show up ready to make a difference while looking and feeling my best. Get 15% off your first order at wearfigs.com with code FIGSRX. That's wearfigs.com, code FIGSRX.
Hey there, and welcome to the Think Fitness Life podcast. We're fueled by the incredible clients who inspire us every day, allowing us to elevate their health and fitness journeys. On this show, you'll gain valuable insights from top professionals, hear inspiring transformation stories, and discover the knowledge and motivation to create your own best life. Let's dive in. As someone who has continuously used therapy as a way to heal and elevate my personal performance, I know wholeheartedly that you cannot always read the label when you're in the jar. And that's why it's so helpful to have a professional in your corner to talk to. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp to provide our listeners with the opportunity to work with a licensed therapist from the comfort of your own home. Receive 10% off your first month when you sign up by going to betterhelp.com/TFL. That's betterhelp.com/T as in think, F as in fitness, L as in life. And remember, you're not alone. There are people out there who can help.
All right. Welcome back to the Think Fitness Life podcast, where we talk about nutrition, mindset, fitness. And today we're bringing someone on that has dealt with a realm of nutrition. I read a little bit into your bio that was sent over to me, and it looks like you've had some GI stuff and you've figured out how to get around that. But changing the world of nutrition is the big part of what you do and what we talk to people about. And the realm of gluten is a big thing that people get really stuck and locked up on. And they actually don't really know what's going on with gluten. They hear it and they're, well, I don't understand it. I don't care about it. She's going to talk all about that. We're going to welcome to the show, Carolyn Haeler. Welcome on. And let's dive into your story, your background of where you got to where you are today.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, my background is in business and finance, and I was working on Wall Street, graduated from business school, was working on Wall Street, working really crazy hours, always been an athlete and into fitness and into health. And that's just who I am. I was getting up at 5 a.m., going to the gym, getting to work by 7:30, working all day and then coming home and recovering. And then on the weekends, running 5 miles on Saturday and Sunday and doing the things to keep my body healthy. And then all of a sudden my immune system started failing without explanation. I never been a sick person. I never struggled with anything physical in my life, never had a surgery, anything like that. I started off with some just mild indigestion, but it was enough that I was talking to my primary care physician about it, trying to figure out what it was. Did a lot of allergy tests. They all came back negative. Over the course of 9 months, my immune system started failing. My skin turned gray. My hair started falling out. My stomach was distended. It wasn't just bloated. It was fully distended. My joints hurt. I had inflammation and pain, anxiety, all the things. And my doctor looked at me and he said, well, maybe you have HIV. And I was, whoa. That's a very devastating thing to hear.
Right.
For anyone at the age of 31 and previously been entirely healthy and then not knowing what it was. Fortunately, within a week later, I was scheduled for a colonoscopy and endoscopy, and I was diagnosed with celiac disease, which at the time was a huge relief. It's something that I felt I had a lot of control over because it's what I'm eating that's causing me all this illness, and I have control over what I ate. Of course, I learned it was far more complicated than that. Celiac disease and gluten intolerance is something that is very complicated because of how integrated gluten is into all of the foods we eat. When you think about gluten, most people think, or celiac disease, you think about bread and cake and pasta, right? And those are things you're like, well, I'm a healthy person. I don't eat a lot of carbs. I know it's not a big deal. And I felt that way. I was like, I don't eat muffins or bagels. I don't eat tons of pasta. I eat a lot of salad. I eat a lot of meat, a lot of veggies, do a lot of keto-esque type eating. And I'm really healthy and really clean. Come to learn, gluten is in many more things than just bread and pasta. Gluten is used as a coloring. It's in anything. It's in caramel color. Caramel color is in most sodas. It's in most beverages. It's in Pepsi Cola. It's Coca-Cola. It's in ginger ale. It's in anything that isn't clear, basically. And it's natural. It's a natural coloring. It's not even listed as a bad for you ingredient. It's also used as a filler in spices. It can be in cinnamon, cumin, paprika. Any of those things can have gluten in them. I've been gluten by cinnamon before. I've had a very terrible reaction to just putting cinnamon on my coffee and on my latte in the morning. It's in soy sauce. It can also be used as a preservative. It can be in cold cuts. It can be in cheese. It is always and definitely in imitation crab. Whenever you have a California roll or imitation crab at a sushi restaurant, there's gluten in that. Gluten is in almost everything. It's actually easier just to talk about things gluten isn't in than it is to list all the things that it is in. It can be in apple cider vinegar. It can be in vanilla extract. It can be in anything that isn't clear, and anything that is brown, which is most things. When you're living, I have celiac disease and I react to gluten in less than 180 seconds. And if I eat a lot of gluten, it literally kills me. But if you don't have celiac disease or even gluten intolerance, you can still have inflammation from eating gluten. A lot of people, especially millennials, as we're starting to get older, are realizing we can't really eat the things as far as food and nutrition is concerned, millennials were the generation raised on the worst food because prior to the 1980s, everything was organic. There was no such thing as organic because it just was. And then we are a generation of people who were raised on things microwave dinners and things that are really bad for you. And also the whole culture around low fat, but then we were raised on things processed fat and olefin. Remember that? All these terrible, terrible things and all these terrible trends. And now we're getting a little older and realizing, oh, we need to be eating cleaner. We need to be eating healthier. And gluten is not necessarily an unclean product, but it is something that causes inflammation. And you don't have to have celiac disease or even a gluten intolerance to react to gluten. And if you have anything that is inflammation-based, and it could be anything from cancer to IBS to arthritis, and even just you're getting older and your joints are achy, that can be exacerbated by gluten. All of a sudden, people are not feeling as well as they used to in their 20s and their early 30s. And it can be very diet related where it's not necessarily harming you an allergy would or an autoimmune disease would, but it is causing symptoms of sort of just the natural aging process to be exacerbated. I've learned a lot about gluten and what it's in, and it's an extremely, extremely challenging ingredient to avoid.
Yeah, most people don't realize because you're not going to see it on the labels of soda or any of this other stuff. And that's where the traditional ones we know as, coaches and from experience, but a lot of people, they don't understand or know what all the things you just rattled off. And they're like, really? They're going to have to go back and listen to it again.
Yeah.
To hear all the foods or potential foods and spices that are in, it's hard to navigate. And I assume that you pick quality spices, cinnamons, or whatever spices you get, it's more of a pure form and they're not cutting the spice or the food with some sort of gluten.
Yeah, I mean, for me, to be honest, I can't eat anything unless it has the gluten-free certification on it.
Yeah.
Because even say they're not adding gluten on intentionally, as a lot of spice makers or any manufacturing, some companies, the cinnamon I got contaminated by was from Kirkland. And you can imagine that the volumes that they're doing at Costco, that they're cutting in less than 0.1% of a filler, and they're not having to label it But that doesn't claim to be gluten-free. That's perfectly within the bounds of the FDA regulations. They're not claiming to be gluten-free. I'm just assuming as a consumer that it's gluten-free when it's in fact not. Unless I see the gluten-free certification of some sort, I will not assume that it's gluten-free. And even if it's something that they're not sort of cutting with gluten, there's so much co-manufacturing in food. Say you have a spice and they're not cutting gluten in, but the spice they milled beforehand had gluten in it. Well, now there's cross-contamination, and I will react to that. I'm sensitive that I will react to that. Unless it has that certification, there is no guarantee that there's no cross-contamination at the manufacturing level. And even things, oats should naturally be gluten-free. They're a wonderful source of fiber and carbs, and it's something that's safe for me to eat. But wheat and oats are often grown side by side, and the air can blow the wheat into the oat field. Unless it's certified gluten-free, I can't eat oats.
Wow.
And oats and wheat are milled at the same mill. Unless it's certified gluten-free, I can't eat anything that's milled. Any flour that's milled, I can't eat and be certain that it's gluten-free unless it has the label on it. The label means that it's been tested and verified and that the ingredients have been separate the entire time on the supply chain, and then it was tested before it went in, it was tested when it came out, and I know that it is certified gluten-free.
It is interesting when you hear people going out or eating, they can't be cross-contaminated. I don't think a lot of people understand. They'll scoff at it. Well, does it really matter? But when it comes to the human body, if you're that sensitive to, nanoparticles of gluten, that's the level it can be affected. And that's a body's reaction to whatever it's trying to defend off. And it's crazy. But you mentioned intolerance versus celiac. And I want to go in that realm because it often gets blurred. People think, oh, I have celiac, I'm intolerant, but they're kind of two different things. But I want you to kind of dive into that.
Yeah, I don't have an allergy, but an allergic reaction is an immediate reaction. You ingest something and then you have a negative reaction to it. And for a lot of people who are allergic to gluten, it's some sort of indigestion. Often it can be a lot of things. It can even be psychological, and it should be anxiety. But oftentimes you eat gluten and you have an upset stomach, right? Or you have gas, or you have some sort of bloating, something like that, and that it's very immediate. I have all of those symptoms as I have an autoimmune disease. And what that means is I create antibodies that attack my body. And if I eat gluten, my body misinterprets the gluten as a foreign invader, and it creates antibodies that attack it. But instead of attacking the gluten, it attacks my colon and destroys it. And it's called celiac disease because there's these little fibers in your colon called celiac, and they absorb all of the nutrition from your food. And I create antibodies that attack and destroy those fibers, which is why my hair was falling out and my skin turned gray. Even though not everything I was eating had gluten in it, I was eating enough gluten that I was damaging my colon enough that I wasn't absorbing any nutrition.
Yeah, that's the big one. People don't realize, even if let's say you don't have celiac, if you still eat gluten, you can be damaging the celiac, and then all of a sudden you're now not absorbing nutrients. But for you, it's calling the fire department. Everything, we're having problems, you're destroying it, and you're getting nothing. That's crazy to see. And it's also interesting that you go through all these allergy tests, and I assume, were they the skin allergy ones?
Yeah, no, it was actually, no, it wasn't skin. They did blood tests.
Okay.
They did blood tests. We even did elimination diet. The elimination diet, because of this, was very hard to do because even though I was assuming bread and pasta, not realizing all these other, I was having Diet Coke every there's a 3:00 coffee break in corporate America. People go and have coffee at 3:00, and I was having a Diet Coke every single day. Not realizing that gluten isn't Diet Coke, because why would you think that you're eating gluten when you're drinking Coke or soda? It's a very hard thing. Gluten specifically is a very hard thing to know that it's in the product to begin with, because I did not know the caramel color got its color from gluten. The elimination diet didn't really yield any results. The blood test didn't yield any results. They did not diagnose me until they found the antibodies when they did the colonoscopy. They physically, the doctors found them. And I was lucky to get a diagnosis because there are a lot of people out there who have celiac disease, but just aren't diagnosed because it's hard to diagnose.
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned the allergy test, because I have had friends with GI issues and they do the skin one and some things don't really come back, but that's as far as they go. I'm like, you need to go more, talk to a GI person, because when about someone's having any distress, whether inside the body or stress, and they can't figure out what it is, it's something they're eating, it's got to be the stomach and intestines. That's just where my brain goes.
Mhm.
But a lot of people, they just think, oh, I must be allergic to something. But then it's for you. It's like, how are you going to find out what that is?
Yeah. And
That's
it's
hard.
life. When I don't eat gluten, when I was diagnosed, it was a couple days before Thanksgiving. And I was, what? I'm not eating anything unless it was picked off a tree or a vine. Physically the whole fruit, unless it's a whole vegetable or fruit, or it's meat. And you can still see you could see how it was cut off animal, actual butcher meat. And within 48 hours, my skin turned pink. And obviously it took months, if not years, to fully heal from all the damage I had done. But it was immediate when I was literally eating whole foods. It had to be something that was cut off an animal, no processing, or eating vegetables, because all of the gluten that comes into food through processing was eliminated. I also taught me, because you think about your immune system, and I don't know, it's your immune system feels it's this amorphous thing throughout your body, and it's very sort of existential. Your immune system is your gut. It's in your small intestine, in your large intestine, and your colon. That is where your immune system is. And if you damage that, or you're causing that distress, your immune system is suffering.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to have an autoimmune disease for inflammation to cause your immune system to suffer.
And for me as a coach, I always often tell people to stay away from gluten, period. Now, these are your base gluten things, your breads, your pastas, your cereal, because you and I both know that the gut's one cell layer thick, and gluten, whether you're allergic to it or not, it's going to damage and separate that cell lining to get into the bloodstream. Even for me, where I don't have reactions like you do, I just stay away from it, because you mentioned earlier, you still kind of get that lethargic feeling when I eat a lot, especially a lot of gluten. I can tell you're just, whoa. But people staying away from that, then they get kind of that washout period. Then they really start to feel better. And it could take days, weeks, months in your case to feel better. But once you realize it, you're, oh my gosh, I feel 100% different.
Yeah. My wife she's a CrossFit coach, and she also voluntarily just avoids gluten because it's for athletes and for the intensity that she's doing in the lifting. It's just much better for your body to not have that additional level of stress.
That's one thing I always give pushback from the athlete world. And they're like, oh, you need to have pasta, bread, gluten, especially the younger kids that I coach. I understand where people are coming, or nutritionists are coming from. They want them to eat, but structuring them to eat maybe a little bit less gluten, maybe more, hey, we're going to pick better carbohydrates, then try to lead in to destroy their gut. Because, yeah, we're talking athletic performance, but I always look, hey, what happens when they get older? Do I want them at 20 something to have GI issues because as an athlete, they were pounding bread and Gatorade and they had no idea? It's all about that long game for people to really understand where is it going to be and how your GI system, because once we start getting out of our developmental years and maybe college, it changes
dramatically. And it changes, and it impacts your quality of life. When your immune system is no longer functioning at 100%, it can even just go down to 95%. That 5% impacts your quality of life. It impacts your ability to perform if you're a competitor, impacts your ability to sleep. It impacts your performance and your sleep. Anything that impacts your sleep is going to impact the rest of your day, the entire time you're awake. And yeah, I mean, I'm all for birthday cake. I'm all for bread here and there. Obviously all the stuff I eat is gluten-free, but there's way better carbs out there for you, the processed wheat.
Mm-hmm.
Eat some yams. You need to get some carbs in the day. Eat some yams.
Oh yeah. That's a staple.
Even eat a white potato. Come on.
Mm-hmm. It's that built-in notion. You mentioned the 80s that, okay, you need to have breads and pastas and these filling foods, and at a time and place maybe where food was sparse and you need to have processed food, that was okay. But now it's different. Nowadays it is completely different.
And there's something completely different from the homemade sourdough bread and what we buy now. That's not the same thing.
Not at all. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's the only bread I'll really eat.
Yeah.
If I go out for breakfast, do you have sourdough? Because it's processed different. I'll let you explain it. Explain why sourdough is different than regular bread.
I'm not an expert in sourdough, but first of all, anything that's homemade, bread is just two. You can make bread with 2 ingredients, right? It's just water and flour. There's nothing else in there that you actually need because the sourdough starter is also made from flour and water. It's already just a far less complicated, better for you product in that it's clean and it's simple. But then you add in the sourdough and the yeast, and now you've got fermentation, and the yeast actually eat a lot of the gluten. That's what they're feeding on. And you're getting something that's far more nutritious with far less gluten in it to eat without any preservatives. If you read the ingredients on like bread that you buy, sandwich bread that you buy from the grocery store, it's 30 ingredients, and many of them are, I can't even tell you what they are. You can't even pronounce them or remember them. Whereas a sourdough loaf made at a bakery is water and flour and maybe some salt and maybe a little bit of olive oil or honey. That's the only ingredients. Obviously, that is a far better product for you than whatever they're putting in Wonder Bread. We don't even know. And it's not even because I'm in food manufacturing, I get it, because the food supply chain is 9 months. And I tell this to people and it's gross. And they're like, I wish I didn't know that, Carolyn. I'm like, but it's important to know. Anything you're eating today, because there's a minimum of a 9-month supply chain at a grocery store in order to get it from manufacturing, then to the distribution center, from the distribution center to the retailer's distribution center, and then from the retailer's distribution center to their actual physical store location to the shelf, that's 9 months. You have to guarantee them 9 months in order to be on the shelf, which means anything we're eating today in July was manufactured last October. October of 2024 is when it was baked, which is why all of those bad for you ingredients are in there.
Right.
Because they had to go stale within hours being baked.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no good tomorrow. You've got to turn it. If you buy a loaf of bread, any fresh bread from a bakery, you've got to eat it within 3 days or turn it into French toast. It's got to be
because it goes stale that quick.
In order to have a product that can survive the 9-month supply chain, you have to have all of these bad for you ingredients in there. Also, I know everyone got into sourdough, including me, over COVID, and realized it's very laborious to make bread. It's this all-day endeavor. However, it's really inexpensive. Wheat flour costs 5 cents per pound and water is free. You can make your own bread for 5 cents, whereas you're going to the store and getting a loaf of bread should cost you 5 cents in ingredient costs. Whereas a loaf of bread at the store costs you what? $5.99, $8.99. If you want from the lowest to the highest end, it's anywhere from $4 to $10. But yes, sourdough, and even I can't eat sourdough, but a lot of my family members and friends who are gluten intolerant and have a diagnosis can eat sourdough because of how much of the bad stuff is taken out by the fermentation process of the yeast.
In the gluten intolerance, people can have gluten, but they'll have mild side effects. Is that correct?
Yes, gluten intolerance is meaning you're not doing permanent physical damage to your intestines. I am. But you do get the negative side effects. Just people are dairy intolerant to dairy, and they get IBS basically from eating dairy, but it's only for a short period of time. If I were to eat gluten every day and just screw it, I'm going to have gluten every day, I would die. It would kill me. People with gluten intolerance would not die from it. They'll just be sad.
Yeah, I do think a lot of people they might be diagnosed celiacs, might be a little bit more gluten intolerant because when they do have it, they might have some GI distress, but it's not anything you might have.
Yeah.
You always gotta try to guide and help people in that scenario, but it's one of those things where, hey, unfortunately, you just are gonna have to take gluten out of your life. It's everywhere, but you're gonna have to know and learn. A lot of people who are celiac or gluten intolerant, they need to learn what they can go out and eat. And what you mentioned earlier, that's kind of scary when you go to a restaurant because you don't know what kind of spices they're using. You can only assume. But if it says gluten-free on the menu, or not gluten-free, but a baked potato, you would assume is gluten-free, right? But we don't know what some restaurants put on from a spice standpoint, maybe from a sauce to make it tastes a certain way.
Yep. Absolutely. And one of the things that gets added to a lot of things is soy sauce. And a lot of chefs use soy sauce now as a salt replacement because of the umami flavor. And obviously you think about soy sauce, you think about Asian cuisine. But it can be in a lot of things because the chef has, well, this is going to amplify the flavor. I'm going to put soy sauce in it. And they're, oh, I'm having a mayonnaise mustard dip. And those things should be gluten-free, but then there's soy sauce in it because the chef added it. Something that I have to say, if I go to a restaurant, I have to say I have celiac disease, and almost every place I go to takes that very seriously. Yeah. And my pasta is boiled in separate water. I can't have anything that's in a fryer with other cross-contamination from the fryer. That eliminates French fries and a lot of things. But I mean, I react in 180 seconds to trace amounts of gluten. I have both the short and the long-term consequences to deter me, which I'm fortunate for because it's easy. If you don't have the short-term consequences from gluten, it's easy to cheat. I react. I was traveling, and traveling is hard. When you have a food allergy, traveling is hard because everything is new and the city is new and you don't have your sort of routine down. I went to a sushi restaurant because sushi is normally something that it's easy. It's rice-based, and I can say I'll have the gluten-free roll, which normally they understand. But I asked the hostess for some extra soy sauce, and I said, can I have some gluten-free soy sauce? And she said, yes, but it was loud. And she brought it to me, and it was loud in there. It was kind of chaotic. I'm going to test this soy sauce. I took my chopstick and put it into the soy sauce. I just touched it to my tongue. I reacted in less than a minute. Yeah.
What was the reaction? Did your tongue tingle or something?
No, for me, I get a lot of different symptoms. There's not one symptom, but the most immediate symptom is I ferment gluten. If I ingest it, I immediately ferment it. I immediately get indigestion within less than a minute.
Wow.
From trace amounts. Imagine the amount of soy sauce. And soy sauce isn't even entirely gluten. It's just fermented with wheat. No. But it's part of the fermentation process. But there's enough gluten in less than a drop of soy sauce to cause me to react.
So your body's basically saying, hey, we got to get rid of this thing ASAP. Let's go clear it out.
Let's starve to death. We'd rather starve than ingest this. Because if I were to take all to eat that much, I would be in misery within an hour. I'd be miserable.
Now, on your journey with this, because I assume did you always have this, even as a kid, do you remember?
Not at all. So that's part of why I started my company, why I started Mightylicious, was because I was diagnosed at the age of 31. I spent 31 years of my life eating everything and feeling fine about it. I was always a good eater. I was always, my mom was, you were my best eater. You always love fruit and vegetables and fish. She was what little kid loves fish. And that's always what I have sort of appeals to me. But I certainly ate Oreos and Cheetos and other things from the 80s and 90s that kids like to eat. I never had any. I lived in Italy. I studied abroad in Italy. I've eaten tons of amazing pasta and pizza. And then I was diagnosed at 31, and it changes your life profoundly. And it's not just the bread and the pasta that changes it. It's all the other little things that make your life tedious and hard to manage.
Oh, absolutely. And I've always wondered, because I hear people when I talk to them, my stepdad's celiac or gluten intolerant. He goes, he can manage certain dosage. Let's put it that way. Later in life, other people later in life. And I always try to, what causes it? There's some, right, we don't probably know.
Oh, no.
There's some sort of stress in the system that flips it. When I was growing up, maybe was it an overload of intake of gluten that happened with people? It could be a number of things. People might be listening. You just don't know. Things can develop, especially in the GI. When we start getting older, every 7 years, our body kind of goes through these phases where it changes over, and things that we might have eaten back in the day, you might start developing an intolerance to, but your system just said, hey, we're done with this. Whatever it is, we are done with it. But then you decided to go out there, and the business person you are, and you created a world for yourself that you were able to have some of these foods that you enjoy. You can partake in family activities and family, whether it's birthdays. Walk us through, because you have this, it's Mightylicious. That's your company. Yep. You built this thing. You can make food for people yourself who are dealing with celiac or don't want to even touch gluten. Walk us through the thought behind that.
Yeah, I mean, I came with the company about 7 years after I was diagnosed, and I was still working in finance. And a lot of the things that I missed from, previously having been able to eat, it wasn't the bread that I necessarily missed. The bread is very convenient. It wasn't the pasta that I missed. I missed things that were really ceremonial, because food is it's not just how we nourish our body and how we heal our bodies. but it's also how we manage our stress. It's also very psychological. It's how we bond with people. It can be very ceremonial. Everyone has a ceremony of either coffee or tea in the morning, maybe in the afternoon. All of these things are how we as adults manage our lives. And I was literally just having a really bad day and I needed a cookie. And I'm not a big cookie snacker, but I was, oh man, I need a cookie. And you don't realize cookies are these wonderful personal little happiness treats. Here's your tiny little personal happiness moment. And that's what a cookie is. It's your person. It's not, it's it's just for you. It's really small. It's not like a slice of cake that's really indulgent, overwhelming. A cookie is a small little bite of chunk of happiness. And I just really needed a cookie. I just need to smile. And I had this gluten-free cookie, and gluten-free products can be really disappointing. Let's that word.
Yes.
They can be very disappointing. And I had lived for 7 years without having a cookie that I actually wanted to. This cookie was bad that I tasted. I literally spit it out. And a cookie is sugar and butter. We are designed to have a psychological reaction to butter and sugar that's positive. And I spit it out. I was like, someone's just got to do better. Everyone deserves to have a cookie. If they really want to have a cookie, they deserve it. As I came up, I have a degree in business. I'm going to start a gluten-free company. I'm going to make better for you, allergen-friendly products, but that actually taste good, that are actually satiating, and that you actually want to eat. And also, my cookies are really indulgent and really flavorful. I just went to a trade show and people are like, this has so much flavor. You don't need to eat a lot of them. You don't have that desire to eat a whole package of cookies, because 1 or 2 cookies is going to fully satiate you and satisfy you, and then you can move on with your life. And I just wanted to bring that back to people who have food allergies and have these intolerances. And we just launched, in addition to the cookies, we've just launched flour. To get to your point, I bake my own bread because it's the only thing that is actually nutritious, but I have my own flour blend. What makes my cookies different is our flour blend. We actually mill our flour fine enough that it can be used for baking. Most gluten-free flour in the US is not milled for baking, which is ironic because it's sold as a bakery ingredient. We just launched 2 flour blends. One is a vegan gluten-free flour blend. Then we have our gluten-free flour blend. It has whole milk powder in it for added protein. And then we have a vegan gluten-free brownie mix, which is my best-selling SKU. I would not say it's a health food. I wouldn't say it's good for you, but it's definitely going to make you happy. It's definitely going to hit your sweet tooth.
Yeah, we got your samples, and we thank you for that. And looking at it, and it was interesting. I mean, I gotta say, why did you go with vegan brownie mix rather than just gluten-free?
Right.
Was that just I wasn't obviously an option, right?
Yeah, you can make them gluten-free, so you can certainly make it with eggs and butter if you want to. You can make it with eggs and whatever vegan butter you want. You can do any combination. I just think that plant-based is a segment that's growing, is important, not just for health, but also for our environment. And Whole Foods has actually asked me, when I launched with 3 gluten-free flavors at Whole Foods back in 2018, and they were doing well. And they're like, Carolyn, gluten-free is growing, but what's really growing, what we really need are vegan plant-based products, because they're really hard to do really well. And I was, you want me to bake without flour, eggs, or butter? You do realize that's the holy trinity of baking. That's the ingredient. Yep. And Whole Foods asked, so I'll try it. And my mother-in-law, it was Christmas time, my mother-in-law served these oatmeal coconut cookies that were a 100-year-old recipe from my wife's side of the family. And I was like, this is the best cookie I've ever tasted. I didn't know I needed oatmeal and coconut together, but this is amazing. I converted that recipe using my gluten-free flour blend into a vegan, because I was like, this will work. It has a lot of moisture and elasticity to it naturally. And it's a great product to bake with if what you're doing. It's challenging to bake with, but it's a great product. It has lots of protein in it. It's just, coconut's just good for you. I created a vegan gluten-free oatmeal coconut cookie. It's my best-selling cookie to this day. Whole Foods obviously knows what they're doing and what their consumer wants. And consumers want better for you products that are vegan and plant-based and gluten-free, but also taste good. They also want something that is satiating and satisfying and nourishes your body, but also nourishes your soul. Then with the success of that SKU, I can do this. I can make something that's delicious and wonderful, and I can make it vegan and gluten-free. Why not? Because then it's allergen friendly for everyone. Right. I created 4 more SKUs. 2 of my vegan flavors are the top 3 SKUs in my line. And then I was at a food show last year, and a retailer came up to me and said, I was explaining about my flour and milling it. And he was like, yeah, I'm the flour buyer at Kroger. Kroger is the biggest retailer in the US. They're the holy grail. And he was like, can I buy your flour? And I was like, sure, yeah. And my flour has lots of benefits. It has 8 grams of protein per cup. It's vegan. And then gluten-free. It's better for you flour. And I should be selling it. I just didn't have packaging made. I ran home really quickly, made packaging, sent him samples, and he picked it up. And when I was doing that, when you're on the shelf in a grocery store, it's better to have 3 or 4 SKUs on the shelf than one. I need a third SKU here because I already have the 2 flours because we make them for the cookies. I make a double chocolate cookie. Let's just make a brownie mix because that will be operationally efficient. For me, I don't have to buy additional ingredients or change anything that I'm doing operationally. And it's my best-selling SKU. I don't know why the world needed a vegan gluten-free brownie, but it's even on every time I launch it somewhere, it's the one that does the best.
Well, I asked about vegan because I obviously respect people's respect for and not eating animal products, but a lot of people, when they see vegan, they read and they go, okay, these ingredients are going to be more quality and better, and maybe even sometimes less caloric than your traditional eggs, butter, and sugar. People start saying, okay, there's better options. You already said your flour's got 8 grams of protein, depending on how much you use. When we make homemade protein balls, that's a no-brainer. You're telling me I get more protein from this flour than your traditional? Forget that traditional one. We're now moving into a different realm. And I that because you don't have to be vegan to eat it, but you're getting the benefits of eating more plants and not going through that process of just processed flour or wheat driving down. And when you make your brownies, do they come out with a different consistency than normal ones?
Oh no! Did you? We didn't send you my brownies.
We did. We made them, and they came out. I love doing this to people. We'll make something. We'll just bring it. We'll bring it to the party, whatever. But we won't tell them what it is. And for me, usually I'm adding protein powder or something, or I'm making it super healthy, and I won't tell people because as soon as people know, they're like, oh, wait a second. But however, I'll have to ask my wife because she made them. They came out chewier and a little bit denser. And when we served it, people, what was that? That was way better than any normal brownie I had. And I was like, I have to ask because maybe we did something wrong, but people, what? And I was like, do I tell them that this was a vegan brownie mix?
No, I just came back I was in Las Vegas for a food show. I do about 4 food shows per year for my business. And that's where all of the products get together and these conventions, and then all the retailers come and you sort of talk to them, hand out samples. When you bake vegan, things are actually more moist. There's more moisture to them and they can be chewier, which for me as a manufacturer is phenomenal because what I'm trying to avoid is my product drying out in a 9-month supply chain without adding any preservatives. When I just created this vegan oat milk coconut vegan cookie, I was not only does this taste wonderful, and that cookie also tastes kind of buttery. There's no flavor or anything. There's no butter. It just kind of tastes buttery, which is amazing. It also lasts longer on the shelf. It has sustained shelf life because butter has water in it. Butter is a combination of oil and whey, and the whey has water in it. But we use RSPO, sustainably sourced palm oil, which doesn't have any water in it, which means it doesn't get stale as fast.
Interesting.
Eggs also have water in them.
Yeah.
And when we remove the eggs and we actually use coconut yogurt, which is also a wonderful ingredient for you, that also adds to the chewiness and the texture of the cookie, and it lasts a lot longer without using any preservatives or anything strange. You have more of a texture of the soft Entenmann's from the 80s, which are all chemical, but without any, but the texture is lovely, but any chemicals. You get that texture from baking vegan if you do it correctly and it's my flour that allows the baked good to actually have body, because it's very challenging to bake, to have body and to have structure and to have chewiness without eggs or butter. And I've achieved that through my flour blend. I can replace the butter and the eggs with coconut yogurt, which is better for you, and sustainably sourced palm oil. And you get something that's actually tastes and feels better than the normal. My brownies can be made more cakey. If you add more liquid to them, they'll be cakier, but they come out super fudgy and moist and delicious. And people freak out over them. People come back. People take my brownies with a lot of skepticism, right? Because my booth says gluten-free, better for you, all these things, and the vegan, and people are like, okay, right, sure.
As soon as they hear vegan, they're like, wait a second, okay.
I'll try it later at my hotel room. Sure, give me a sample. And then they come back to me and they're like, oh my God, that was the best brownie I've ever tasted. They love it. It's insane. I know, it's wonderful. it's better than the normal. And I didn't, obviously that's the goal, but some of this is just the serendipity of me exploring these ingredients and seeing what I can do with them and how to make them. Not only, my goal is always to make them as good as the original, but if I can make it better, that's everyone's winning.
Yeah. And is that where you're currently at now, making more products or making those better? What's next for you?
That's a good question. Right now, when you create a product, you want to have some success with it and you want to really invest in it. We started with 3 flavors of cookies in 2018. We're now up to 7 flavors of cookies, 4 of which are vegan and gluten-free. And then just this March is when we launched the flour blends and the brownies. Right now, I'm really investing in those flours before I sort of start thinking about new SKUs, because I want those to be successful. But yeah, my goal for the company is to be a full lifestyle brand, not just a few products, but I want to be on most aisles in the grocery store and have better for you, allergen-friendly products everywhere that make people smile and that you want to eat and that are satiating. I love the fact that you got that feedback that you just made them and took them and they're anonymous. That's my goal in life. That makes me happy.
Well, I kind of do. I do some consulting. I have friends that they're bakers too. But one thing I told them, and I'll give you maybe this is maybe down the road, is protein. Because the world of fitness and health, if you could blend something into a protein cookie, you got me sold, right? Because what do a lot of people, me or any people in the health, if they see all of a sudden, hey, this cookie's good for you, and it's got 15 to 20 grams of protein, holy smokes, what's going on? But I'm sure you've already thought about that, but that would be one of my feedbacks after obviously testing and tasting some of the stuff. You show up to a party, hey, I got brownies, test them out. And then you say, well, oh, these are really good. Well, guess what? They got 25 grams of protein in it. People are going to look at me like, what are you on? But that's the fun stuff about what you do.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. My SVP of sales, which is Carolyn, needed a protein cookie. And this is This is a real hurdle. There's only so much money people are willing to spend on a package of cookies. And I'm competing with the better for you. I'm also competing against Oreo, right? And Oreo is a multi-billion-dollar company. You go into any store, even on Amazon. If I spend advertising at Amazon, no matter how much I spend, Oreo is going to outbid me by 1,000%.
Yeah.
I'm never going to beat Oreo. And they're in my category, no matter what. Even though I'm a specialty cookie, I'm still technically competing against Oreo and Chips Ahoy and all of these brands, which are priced half the price of me. And there's only so much people are willing to pay for a cookie, even a better for you cookie. And I'm already paying extra. It's already expensive to have wheat or to have rice flour. Rice has cost $2 per pound, even commercially. I buy it by the metric ton. Wheat flour costs 5 cents or less.
No, wow.
There's difference in pricing. I'm using coconut yogurt. I'm all using organic vanilla extract. I'm using all these better for you products. And now you want me to add protein. Is protein an inexpensive product?
Not right now, no. And I know that's the hard part.
That's
the hardest part.
Price per pound for protein powder is extremely expensive. But now you're talking about my cookies retail for $7.99. I can push back on that all of the time that they're too expensive. Now I'm adding protein. Now it's a $9.99, $10.99 bag of cookies.
If it had enough, health people they're going to weigh it. They're going to weigh that option and go, you know what?
But I need to be
it's tough. It's tough.
In order to be successful, I can't just sell it to you. I have to also get consumers at Target and at Walmart to want to buy it.
I see. Yeah. Oh, that's the business world that I don't understand. That's why you do business.
You come up with these niche markets, which are great. And then if that niche market changes its mind at all or goes away, there's a company that did a high protein during low glycemic, low sugar, high protein cookie during COVID, and they were killing it. They were selling millions of dollars in Amazon, millions and millions of dollars. They were just rolling in it. And then after COVID ended and people stopped eating as much and keto started sort of waning off a little bit with the Ozempic craze, no longer in business.
Wow. That's crazy.
Crazy, right?
Well, I guess you got to keep doing what you're doing best and then just keep
growing.
I appreciate
feedback. You're not the first one to tell me this. I get it. And as soon as protein is a reasonably priced ingredient, or if I can find a protein that is not going to really destroy my costs, I will definitely do it, because protein doesn't really change the taste or the texture of it. It only helps it.
It's tough because it's such a big health thing now. I don't think those prices are going to come down
exactly
at all.
Exactly. But I can't sell it $11.
Yeah. No, I see. Well, I know we're coming up on the hour, and I always respect as a trainer, respect people's hours time. But where can people find you on Instagram, TikTok, social media? Where can they find you? Website?
We're on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, Mightylicious Foods. You can find us. We have a website. It's just called Mightylicious.com. We sell all of our products on our website. We ship to all 50 states. If you buy 3 bags or you spend $24, shipping is free. That's 3 bags or more of anything. We're on Amazon. If you are a Prime OTIM, we're up there. And then we're sold in Giant on the East Coast. We're in H-E-B in Texas. We're in Kroger's and 300 Kroger's nationwide. We're in Walmart on the East Coast from New York up to Maine. We're thousands of natural and specialty stores. We're in Chicago. We're in Texas. We're in New York. We're on the East Coast. We're everywhere. If you don't find us, first of all, you should know this. If there's a product you love and you want, always ask your store manager for it. Because if enough people ask for the same product, they will bring it in. It doesn't matter what product, not just mine. Always ask. I buy this on Amazon every single week. Do you stock it? If 5 to 10 people ask for the same product, they will start to stock it. That's how this works. They want to give you what you want, and they don't want to lose your business to Amazon. Always politely mention to your store manager if there's a product you don't see, that you want and don't see. Obviously, if you can't find it at your local store, get us on Amazon or at Mightylicious.com. People don't know this. We just talked about the 9-month supply chain. We bake at our manufacturing facility every week, every Monday or every other Monday. When you order from us, you are getting fresh baked product. That is always going to be better than something that's been on the supply chain for 9 months.
Oh, wow. Yeah. We don't want to wait 9 months and use something that's 9 months old.
Yeah.
Well, go check out their website, go check out the Instagram, and I highly advise people try it. You might be a little bit scared because it says vegan or that's not your thing, but try it anyways. You won't know until you try stuff and have that idea. Go back and listen why you might start adding some more plant-based sources to your life, and it might change your gut health. We appreciate you coming on. That was great conversation. Keep doing what you're doing. I will send any audio or video that you want for social media. Let us know. We'll get this out. Right now, we're probably looking 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then we'll tag you guys on Instagram. We'll do all that stuff. We'll email you. Do we email you or do I email, is it Vicky?
Yeah, Vicky. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything that you guys are going to post or that you want cross-posted, we have 14,000 followers on Instagram. We're going to post it. We'll cross tag you. We'll cross flat with you. Yeah, all of that. My marketing team will take care of all of that everyone gets the do all.
Perfect. We will. I'll reach out to you when that time's coming. And as of that, you're on the West Coast or Mid Central, right?
East Coast. Where are you?
Oh, I'm East Coast too.
Yeah.
I didn't know when some people go back and forth on time, they might not be on my time zone.
No, sorry. I was traveling. And I just got back last night.
No worries. Well, have a great weekend. Enjoy it and keep doing what you're doing, making the brownies, doing all that stuff. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Of course. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Matt Gluckman and Eric Menchie here from Think Fitness Life. Our entire careers have been dedicated to fitness, particularly how the mind helps the body. We've been around gyms and nutrition strategies for 25 plus years collectively, and nothing harms or helps better than your own mind, untrained or trained. Pushing beyond your limits, overcoming whatever's thrown your way, and making the decision to show up day in and day out as a lifestyle takes more soul than sand. And what I mean by that is when you can get your mindset and heart leading you consistently in the direction of your goals and dreams, well, it's just a matter of time before you have the performance, physique, or quality of life you're yearning for. See, your thoughts will stem from your beliefs, which will then lead you to action, which develop into your behavior and ultimately lead you to results. It's really that simple. Our process takes time and it takes open communication. It's amazing what pops up along the fitness journey to betterment, and we can be there every step of the way. To learn more or apply for coaching, visit www.thinkfitnesslife.com. Start recreating your life today.